I have something on my mind, and it has to do with my kids. If it's your first time on the channel, my name is Ryan. I'm a full-time reseller on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Depop. Today's video, it's not really too much about reselling. It's more about kind of kids, like my own kids, and kids that I see other people kind of bring to the thrift store. So I'm sure if you've ever been to a thrift store, you've seen someone bring their kids. It's pretty common. But one thing I have noticed about being at different thrift stores across the United States is you do see a lot of people bring in kids that have different challenges. And from challenges, I mean, I don't know how to really say it correctly, but not, I guess, mental kind of challenges, I guess, where I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, and I'm sorry if I am saying it wrong, but kids with, say, autism or Down syndrome, or just wheelchair bound, or just different things like that. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and it what he said kind of hit me a little harder than it probably should have. But he said that when I do bring my kids over to his house, he has to talk to his kids about to prepare them that, hey, when they come over, if there's random outburst or yelling or just things like that, to kind of be prepared. And it made me think, and I'm not saying he did anything wrong. Honestly, it's better to have the awareness of it so his kids can kind of understand what's going on, especially with my kids. I have if you followed any of my videos before, I have two high-functioning autistic kids. They are, even though they're both high-functioning, they're still on two different levels. One is very quiet, reserved, likes to kind of play by himself. Occasionally, he'll connect occasionally with another kid, and it's the greatest joy a dad, I guess, can see, is they have a buddy. But he doesn't quite still understand all emotions, so he can't really understand if someone's being mean to him or things like that fully. But there's only been maybe 3 times I've ever seen him genuinely connect with another kid. The first time was just at a park, and it I think he was still not really verbal. He was kind of talking, but not, just little words. And I think he was 6 or something at the time, maybe 5. And there's this kid, but this kid was visiting from out of town, visiting his dad, and they just happened to be at the park. And the other kid was doing all the talking, and they were just going down the slides together, going 1, 2, 3. And I could tell my son genuinely had a connection with someone, and that was the first time I ever really seen him have a connection with another kid. And man, I just want to stay at that park all day because of just seeing that. And I'm sorry if this video gets kind of emotional, because these are my kids and I love them to death, and I know they're different, they're unique, and I love them with all my heart. But that was the first time. The other time was we went to another kid's birthday party, and he's in a high-functioning autism or autistic class where all the kids, and that's one thing I love about the school he goes to, is they don't just put it special needs. They have it broken into different categories. So he's with other high-functioning autistic kids. And he was at this birthday party at a little amusement park thing, or not amusement park, I don't know, a bounce place, and they like foam pits. And then there was this other kid that was in his class, and I mean, those two were like two peas in a pod. Like, they were just like, they had this like connection like no other, and I just loved it. Then the next following year, they were kind of broken apart because the grade they were in together, they like shared grades. So it was like, you know, first, second, and then third, fourth, they shared grades. And I guess the other kid was technically a grade behind, and so it was like, and I don't know why I didn't get the mom's phone number so I could set something up, because that was another time, and I guess that's on me, is I should have, because you could just tell these two kids were like genuinely wanting to hang out. And then I think the kid ended up moving. I'm not really sure, or he's in another class, but that was another time. I can't remember the third. I think there was a third. But I've had like birthday parties for my own son, and then of course I'll invite like my friends' kids. But one thing that kind of like broke my heart one time is my friends' kids, you know, they kind of would play with each other, but my son would try to join them, but they just observing as afar from my son, or as a father, I could tell like they were doing their own thing and didn't really, even though it was his birthday party, they didn't really care for him. And it really, and I understand that, that's just, kids are kids. You can't force kids to do things. But it really kind of just broke my heart, because I could see he wanted to join in. He just didn't know how to properly join in. And I don't know. It was heartbreaking. I remember that. That was like 3 years ago. And it was heartbreaking to me. But he's just a quiet, reserved kid. He's very emotional. And who knows, he might kind of grow out of it. I mean, honestly, it took us forever for him to even talk. Now he talks, and he'll kind of talk your ear off a little bit. And he's such a love bug. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of friends come over, he'll hug them and everything. So he's such a love bug. My other kid, he's a little more spicy. He has a lot more random outbursts and things of yelling. He doesn't quite know to control his voice, things like that, which kind of upsets the other one, because he likes quiet and things like that. The other one, he's very fascinated by animals. So, you know, we got a zoo pass, so my wife takes him to the zoo all the time. The other one does not care for the zoo at all. So he usually just stays home with me, and we go do things. But my oldest, we'll go to like comic conventions and things like that. And he seems to, I don't really know if he enjoys it, but he tolerates it. What's fun about doing those things is he's very into like things before he was born. So like, I just had to buy him a backpack of Angry Birds Space, a game that has not really existed in like 10 years. So I had to get on eBay and find him a backpack, and then I got on Poshmark and found him a lunchbox, and it cost me about $50. So I got him a lunchbox and a backpack for $50. My other son that loves animals, like every time I do go to the thrift store, I end up looking for the Wild Republic plushes for him when I find them, because those are the ones you usually get at the zoo. I think I have one. And I usually kind of, when he does something good, I give him one. Here's a flamingo, and here's the Wild Republic tag. He, once again, like I said, because he's autistic, he looks for this orange tag because he associates it with the zoo. I usually can I picked this one up for $1. So they're just little things that brings him joy, and he loves his animals. Like, what's crazy is I find just anytime I find the Wild Republic ones, I get them. And there's animals I don't even know what they are, but the moment I even show them to him, he knows like their full name. And it's crazy. Sometimes I have to like Google Lens what it is, and he'll already know what it is. He's such a smart kid in that aspect. He's not very social. Both my kids, when I ask them like, do you have friends, they don't quite know how to answer, so they just say no, or sometimes they'll just say yes, or I feel like they have acquaintances, they don't really have friends. And I was even telling my friend this of that, you know, don't really have friends, and he was trying to kind of like, well, you should bring him over more. I'm like, dude, every time I do bring him over, you know, they're just kind of doing their own thing. And he's got a girl, and I was like, you know, when there's other kids around, you know, of course the girls want to be with the girls, and the boys want to be with the boys. I mean, they're kind of young, or they just want to be around people that might have similar interests too. I think that's probably more than just gender, is just similar interests of what's going on. So if but I mean, I just took my son to Target, and he got him Gabby's dollhouse, like the little ears, and that you push the ear and it sings something, and that's what he wanted, and I'm gonna get that for him. So I don't really assume like gender roles or anything like that. I think whatever makes you happy makes you happy. But the one thing with like thrift stores, and they have there's kids with different special needs, is it kind of got me thinking that people have to have some kind of awareness of, you know, the youth around them. I feel like thrift stores are a pretty safe place. And there's several people, at least in my town, that, you know, if they have kids with Down syndrome, they seem to end up coming here. And I'll sit there and talk to the kids. They're happy to just share the world, or even some of the autistic kids, or just kids, if they have interests, you know, and they just talk to them back. Obviously, make sure their parents there, but be friendly, show them that the world is comforting. I think that's because the world is kind of harsh. I mean, let's be real, the world's harsh, and I'm kind of really realizing that at least for now, my kids there's always like a pre-warning for them when I even take them anywhere. And I've had some friends like, oh, don't worry, bring him over. And then the moment you try to bring him over, you know, they're touching, especially my youngest, touching everything. My oldest, he doesn't really, once again, he just by himself, but he wants to build. He loves building, you know. Here's one thing, it's not what you really expect. So he had something on his iPad, and I was like, what are you looking at? And he hit it. And I was like, okay, that's weird, right? And then when I I was like, show me what you're looking at. And I looked at it, and it was like a schematic of an elevator. And I was like, why are you hiding a schematic of an elevator, of the whole layout? And then he was like telling me the whole breakdown of an elevator. And so me and my wife, we ended up buying like this little STEM elevator, create your own elevator, with a little electric motor and stuff. And we bought that for him, and, you know, try to take that interest in what he's interested in, and don't try to like stray away from it. So I don't know, but it just gets me kind of thinking, like, their world is going to always be so different, and in a way I hate that for them. But also, if they're happy for themselves, I'm happy. But also, it kind of just, I don't know, it kind of sucks, because I just want the best for them. And I'm sure these other parents at thrift stores, they want the best for their children. And having high functioning autistic kids, there's a lot worse scenarios, and I say worse because for the most part they kinda can do stuff themselves, and I know they will be able to. Most, I think they might end up living life by themselves at some point when they grow up. And there's some people that have kids that will probably have to have their kids with them for the rest of their lives. So I know it's kind of hard to even fathom that as a parent of like, and I know it's your duty as a parent to protect your kids, but it's life's weird like that. Life is weird like that. It's hard work, and good job to every parent. I just want every parent that has a kid like this, any kind of sense, any kind of spectrum or way of this, that, you know, good job. Just know that you're doing a good job, because it's hard work and no one can really relate to what you're going through. Like, I have one cousin that her kid will probably have to live with her forever because he's also autistic, but has seizures and things like that. And I hear things that happen for her and her husband for the kid, and they have to have like split schedules, so like, you know, someone's always watching, where we can at least take my kids to her parents, or we can trust my sister to at least take one of them, the oldest. The little one, it's kind of hard sometimes who we can take him to, but the oldest, I mean, you can almost, he's so quiet and just keeps to himself that you can kind of take him to any of our relatives and he's pretty content and happy. He's pretty easy to please. But I don't know, it just got me, that comment just got me thinking of him saying that he had to prepare his own kids for when my kids come over. And I understand it, but it's still hard to hear as a parent. I don't know. It's about awareness. It is. These are just my thoughts. I know this video might be getting kind of long, and I just wanted to make this video because it's hard to talk about. It really is. And it's hard to talk to my wife even about these things because it upsets her just as much. So I just don't want us both being upset. So I'm recording this for myself, really, of just being able to talk even though I'm just talking to a camera. So I don't know. I don't know what the world's going to look like for them. I just hope I can always help them any way I can. And just be aware. If you see kids while you're at the thrift store, just be aware that if they are a little bit different, that understand the parents too. Understand what they might be going through and how hard they're working for every little step of their child's life. It's hard. Well, anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumb up. If you want to comment something below, I don't really have anything particular for you to comment, to be honest, because this is more a reflection for me. But if you want to comment something, appreciate it. And subscribe to catch more resale content. It's not really much about this, but who knows, if you like this kind of content, maybe I could share more. So we'll see you next time. Bye.